It has been moved and seconded. Minutes of the meetings dated September 7, 20, and 21 are approved, while we defer action on the minutes of October 6 and 10.
Mr. Chairman,
Please,
I don't have a copy with me of the minutes of the September 20 and 21, Mr. Chairman, but earlier I was able to browse through the minutes and I have noticed certain important items that should have been included in the minutes but have been missed out, Mr. Chairman. For instance, in the case of the inconsistency of the testimonies of Ablen and Ragos in the September 20 hearing, Mr. Chairman, that has not been noted in the minutes. So may I request, Mr. Chairman, that that matter be included as it is very important, Mr. Chairman.
Secretariat, will you please look into this? Is there any motion to again consider that and consider the minutes of September ano to?
September
21?
20, Mr. Chairman.
September 20, approve in principle to include those corrections as you mentioned. Ano ba yun? Can you please clarify specifically?
Specifically, Mr. Chairman, in the case of the claim of Mr. Ablen that Mr. Ragos ordered him to collect from the inmates tara of 100,000 pesos a week, and that on the first week he was able to collect like 1 million pesos from the first 10 inmates that complied with the with the instruction of Director Ragos, and in the succeeding weeks they were able to collect already from all 17 inmates. These were all denied by Director Ragos, Mr. Chairman, and that has not been included in the minutes, Mr. Chairman. I think that's very material in terms of determining the consistency of the testimonies of our witnesses, Mr. Chairman.
You wanted what? You wanted what?
I wanted that included, Mr. Chairman. I think that's very material.
Pero you, in succeeding hearings, what is that you wanted to,
well, I have yet to see the minutes for the October 6 and October 10 minutes, Mr. Chairman.
October 6 and 10, precisely, we have to defer approval of the minutes of October 6 and 10 because we have not received copies yet of that.
So does that satisfy your concern?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, as far as October 6 and October 10, Mr. Chairman. But as far as September 20, Mr. Chairman, may I move that the minutes
was raised by the good congressman on this particular point. And then for the secretariat to discuss the matter directly with the congressman. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. So anyway, so may I now request the COMSEC to please acknowledge the members present, including ex officio officers of the House of Representatives who are present in today's hearing.
Good morning. We would like to acknowledge the presence of the following House members of the committee: Honorable Reynaldo Umali, Honorable Rodolfo Parinas, Honorable Vicente Veloso, Honorable Strike B. Revilla, Honorable Ramon Rocamora, Honorable Jericho Jonas Nograles, Honorable Lawrence Lemuel Fortun, Honorable Edward Vera P. Maceda, Honorable Jose Christopher Belmonte, Honorable Edwin Ong, Honorable Mahmoud Mendy, Honorable Luisa Loren Quaresma, Honorable Gwendolyn Garcia, Honorable Vincent Crisologo, Honorable Danilo Suarez, Honorable Alfredo Garbin, Honorable Eugene Michael De Vera, Honorable Anthony M. Bravo, and also the presence of our author, Honorable Romeo Acop and Honorable Honorable Romeo Acop.
Yes,
And other House members, Honorable Gus Tambunting and Honorable Horacio Swansing Jr.
Thank you for that. So let me just welcome everyone to this committee hearing. This is not yet in executive session. Later on, we will conduct our hearing in executive session. But just for the benefit of especially the public, you know, this legislative inquiry is a record of some sort. We started our hearings on September 20 and terminated the same after 4 hearings on different dates on October 10. This is less than a month, and actually we will now discuss today and hopefully approve a committee report that the committee had put together for discussion purposes, and to seek the consensus of this committee in approving the same, so that we can present this in plenary within a month from the time we started, even if the rules allow us to complete our work in a period of 60 days. So we hope to seek plenary approval of our committee report. Hopefully we can agree on it today, so that before we go on a break this week, we would have presented and get the nod of the House of Representatives of our output in this particular congressional inquiry. I would like to thank everyone, especially the members, because this is probably the most expeditious, swiftest, productive congressional inquiry ever. Completed in 4 hearings in 4 different days for a total of 47 hours, ranging from 10 to 14 hours per hearing. Comprehensively covering 22 witnesses and 10 resource persons and or agencies, including 2 non-government organizations, notably the Integrated Bar of the Philippines and even the VACC, or Volunteers Against Crime and Corruption. Both of these groups really participated, joined us in all of the hearings, and they submitted to the committee their inputs also on what legislative measures we can pursue as a result of this congressional inquiry. More importantly, 50, at least on the average, 50 interpellators, House members, took turns in interpellating witnesses and resource persons. And so I would like to thank all of you for bearing with us, even the people who saw us being transparent and conduct our proceedings in an orderly fashion. I would like to thank all of you, and we don't want to keep you waiting, and this is the reason why we would like the committee report to be tackled soonest. unfortunately did not also participate in our hearings, I do respect their opinions, but I wish they will find it in their hearts to see this congressional inquiry as, again, one shining moment of the House of Representatives. No? So, having said that, I would like to perhaps request members only to, are we using the same room? We will be using the same room so that we will expect only members and the secretariat. And for those House members who wish to participate but are not allowed under our rules, I think discretion is given to the chair to also accommodate them. Pare-pareho lang naman po tayong halal ng bayan, and I do not want to disallow you to participate because I know that if we allow everyone to participate, we will better get a consensus of the final output that we will submit to plenary, which we will vote upon anyway when we are about ready to do that. Meanwhile, after we have excused all those who cannot participate in this executive session, we will distribute copies of the first draft of the committee report for discussion purposes, and we will have to collect the same again before we end our executive session, and so we can give the secretariat time to finalize it, and once finalized, this is what we can vote upon. And after we have approved the same and get it calendared in plenary, then we will be free already and without obligation or constraint to share it with everyone. I guess that is again what the rules require of us members. So Your Honors, please be guided accordingly, and may I now request any comment at this point in time while the media is still here, before we request the media to allow us our free time as a committee conducting this hearing in executive session. Any comments coming from any member? Minority Leader?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm just somewhat... I read one of the broadsheet today, and I just would like to have a clarification from the chair on that statement that there was no evidence against De Lima. Is that the position of the chair?
I don't know about whoever wrote that. Definitely it did not come from me. I did not utter those words. I did not give any statement to any media on that particular point. So probably that is a spin of some of the members of the media, and or probably that is their way of sowing intrigue on the House of Representatives, on this committee, and on this person as chair of the Committee on Justice.
Well, that's comforting, Mr. Chairman. I'm just somewhat alarmed or bothered because we're about to come up with a committee report. Here is a broadsheet news stating that the chair has made a statement that there is no evidence linking De Lima to this particular resolution, that I am one of the authors. That's precisely the reason I am somewhat concerned. But nevertheless, coming from you that it is not true, then it's pretty comforting, and thank you very much for that reply.
Thank you, Minority Leader. Again, the rules do not allow us to divulge whatever is contained in the report, because this is a very rough draft of the report, and I cannot speak for the committee. I am only a chairman of this committee. I cannot speak for the committee. The committee report is what will be the statement of this institution, not Congressman Umali, not Chairman Umali, but the Committee on Justice, of which I only chair, and I only have one vote, which I cannot even exercise unless to break a tie when we vote upon any measure before this committee. So please disabuse your mind about whatever has been written, because that is a canard that no one should even listen to.
Mr. Chairman, in relation to the manifestation of the Minority Leader, Mr. Chairman, I heard over the radio when I drove my son to school this morning that you made a statement that the prosecution of Senator De Lima will not be one of the recommendations of the committee. Do you confirm that, Mr. Chairman?
That is not our job. Prosecution is an executive function, not a congressional function. Investigation and enforcement are executive functions, not legislative functions. So that is not our role. Our role is to legislate, and that is what we will focus on in our committee report. But having said that, that is not to say that we will not have our own findings of what facts had been established in this committee. And anyway, you will all see that in the committee report, and you make your own judgments as to what will be the output of this committee, that I have steered towards producing this committee report for the approval of all members of this committee, and then eventually the plenary.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
From what I understand from your explanation, this committee cannot make recommendations to the Department of Justice, cannot make recommendations to the NBP. Is that the rule, Mr. Chairman?
I did not say that. I did not say that. I'm just saying that that is not our function.
But we can
Prosecution is not our function.
But we can recommend in our resolution, Mr. Chairman.
I guess it can be done, but as you very well know, charges have already been filed, so what is there to recommend?
No, not only, for example, we can recommend on the functions of the new
It is the decision of the.
That's why I'm only,
it is the decision of the committee,
yes,
not mine.
But that's why I'm asking. We will not be able to suggest on the functions of the NBP, for example, that they should put up a net, something like that. Are we not allowed to? We will not be allowed to make recommendations in our resolution.
We are allowed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
At any rate, Mr. Chairman, those who will not vote for the approval of the committee report and those who did not sign the committee report has the liberty to file their own concurring or dissenting opinion, Mr. Chairman. So those who will not agree can file their dissenting opinion, and those who agree and has different recommendation can also file their concurring opinion, Mr. Chairman.
We will look into that if that is allowed. You know, we are not also a court of law. I do not know if this is allowed under the rules.
That is allowed, Your Honor.
At the proper time, we will. We may have to rule on that.
Mr. Chairman, that is allowed under the rules. Under Section 16 of our Rules of Legislative Investigation, it says that those members who vote against the approval of the report and who do not sign the majority report may make concurring or dissenting opinions. And the same, the report can be filed with the Secretary General and be the subject of the order of business before the plenary, Mr. Chairman.
That is correct. That is Section 16, but not in this committee, but in the plenary through the Secretary General. So that is beyond the committee, and you have your time to do this in plenary when the matter is included in the order of business for purposes of deliberation and approval by the House in plenary. So, ayaw niyo pa bang makita yung report? Bakit ang dami yung tanong?
Last item.
Hindi ba kayo na-excite sa report? Sige, Congressman Salo.
Yes, Mr. Chair. This is a different matter, Mr. Chair. I just note that this committee issued the warrant of arrest on Ronnie Dayan. So may I just inquire on what would be the status of that and what would be the action of the committee in as much as the committee is already terminating its investigation on this matter?
The warrant stays. The contempt stays because that is contempt of the House of Representatives, not only this committee. Please remember that the subpoena was issued and approved by the Speaker of the House, not by the chair of this committee, and therefore that contempt is against the institution. Hence, as I said in our previous hearing, all unfinished business will be referred to the appropriate committees or even subcommittees of the Justice Committee. So he will have his time to respond to any and all questions that are response to any and all questions that may be required by any member of this House in the appropriate committee. So the contempt order stays and the arrest order stays. So on that note, we would like again to thank our friends from the media for covering us even in this short period of time. Let again reiterate that at 11:30 we will have a House briefing led by our good speaker. So, you know, you may raise all of the questions that you'd like to raise from us at that particular moment. Meanwhile, may I request your indulgence to please vacate this room so that we can proceed with our
Before
jobs.
that, Mr. Chair, may I move to conduct an executive session so we can properly convene for executive session, Mr. Chair.
Second motion, Your Honor.
Been moved and seconded. The hearing of the Committee on Justice is now in executive session. The committee directs the stenographers to please stay to record whatever we will discuss here. But of course, with a notice that you cannot release and or divulge this unless with the prior approval only of the chair. Thank you. May we also acknowledge the presence of Congressman Tugna and Deputy Speaker Rani Abu.
Camera, alisin. Tapos yung mic, alisin. Hindi na siguro tripod. Tapos, Boss, kanino to?
Ba't tumamatay kanina? Baka may nakakasama.
October 6 and 10, precisely, we have to defer approval of the minutes of October 6 and 10 because we have not received copies yet of that.
So does that satisfy your concern?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, as far as October 6 and October 10, Mr. Chairman, but as far as September 20, Mr. Chairman, may I move that the minutes
was raised by
and that on the first week he was able to collect like 1 million pesos from the first 10 inmates that complied with the with the instruction of Director Ragos, and in the succeeding weeks they were able to collect already from all 17 inmates. These were all denied by Director Ragos, Mr. Chairman, and that has not been included in the minutes, Mr. Chairman. I think that's very material in terms of determining the consistency of the testimonies of our witnesses, Mr. Chairman.
you wanted what? You wanted what?
I wanted that included, Mr. Chairman. I think that's very
Pero
material.
in succeeding hearings, Kamo, what is that you wanted to?
Well, I have yet to see the minutes for the October 6 and October 10 minutes, Mr. Chairman. Request, Mr. Chairman, that that matter be included as it is very important, Mr. Chairman.
Secretariat, will you please look into this? Is there any motion to again consider that and consider the minutes of September
September
21?
20, Mr. Chairman.
September 20, approve in principle to include those corrections as you mentioned. Ano ba yun? Can you please clarify specifically?
Specifically, Mr. Chairman, in the case of the claim of Mr. Ablen that Mr. Ragos ordered him to collect from the inmates tara of 100,000 pesos a week.
It has been moved and seconded. Minutes of the meetings dated September 7, 20, and 21 are approved, while we defer action on the minutes of October 6 and 10.
Mr. Chairman,
Please,
I don't have a copy with me of the minutes of the September 20 and 21, Mr. Chairman, but earlier I was able to browse through the minutes and I have noticed certain important items that should have been included in the minutes but have been missed out, Mr. Chairman. For instance, in the case of the inconsistency of the testimonies of Ablen and Ragos, in the September 20 hearing, Mr. Chairman, that has not been noted in the minutes. So may I...
the good congressman on this particular point. And then for the secretariat to discuss the matter directly with the congressman. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. So anyway, may I now request the COMSEC to please acknowledge the members present, including ex officio officers of the House of Representatives who are present in today's hearing.
Good morning. We would like to acknowledge the